Hello, can we hear me? Let me know. Then we'll get this thing started, guys. I hope I'm not I hope I got my mic sitting good. I messed around with this last night, so just let me know if everybody can hear me, and yeah, we'll get going on this. Hold up, I'm actually gonna see if I can try and record this too, just so then we have it. Be nice, because then maybe I'll put it out for you guys to watch later. Hold up, recording path. I don't think I can do it now. I think YouTube should automatically do it. Okay. Yeah, no, okay, cool. Because I would like try and get the footage after. Or if you can record it on your end. Because it would be pretty cool to have it after. Because I don't think it will let me, sadly. Because I'm already streaming, so. Okay. Well, I'm glad that we can all hear me and the audio is good. Let me swipe over on the screen. Okay, cool. How's everybody doing? I also got the chat pulled up on my phone here, so yeah, I'm really excited to be doing this. Thank you, Bass Rebels and Danny and the whole community over there for allowing me to do this. And yeah, I'm super excited to dive into a project of mine. This one has been quite a long time in the works. I spent a long time working on this song and a lot of revisions. It's probably about 97. There was more projects though, but that just goes to show like to get something over that finish line and like get it done and like get it to the level that you want, it just takes time. Like don't always stress about getting a song done really quick, in my opinion. That's my opinion, but I really felt like I got it to where it wanted. Like before, I had some different like rhythms too. There might be in this project actually. So it'd be pretty interesting for you guys to see that. That there was different ones. And lots of different sounds. I replaced a lot of sounds, different intros, a lot of different mixes too. Because also this was like I've done dubstep before, like I've wrote dubstep before, but I really needed it to fit what I've been doing, like musically, and like kind of have like a melodic sound. And so I kind of like had to think of themes that would fit and like rhythms, like how I wanted it to sound. And that's just it takes time. I'm doing very, very good. I'm very happy about this song coming out today. Thanks again for Bass Rebels taking and putting it out. I'm so happy about it. And this song's like a pride and joy for me. It's literally my first time going into a heavier direction with my sound and like experimenting with new sounds. And I had a lot of fun making it. So I'm really happy that this is actually like out now. So yeah, I'm very, very happy. Yep, same here. Sometimes you just have to put it out or it'll sit on your hard drive for many years. I relate to it. No, you didn't miss the stream. You're here. Thank you. Yeah, no, I spent a while writing this one. Like it was different chord progression for me. I actually used my own voice actually a couple times, as we'll go into. There's like actually like me humming in the back in the intro, and then there's also the pre-drop vocal. The vocal right before the drop is actually my vocal too. We'll go into it because I process it differently. I don't know if I rendered it with the rack on, but we'll go back into that. But it'll be pretty cool to see that, like how I actually manipulate it, and I can always recreate it too. So yeah, no, I'm pretty excited to get into this. Ask any questions about the creative process, rhythms, sound design, like what my uniqueness I was trying to bring to this song too, because there's something more instrumentally based. I guess yeah, we'll start out with that. Is that I felt like it needed some like cool sound design that was kind of like, how do I put it? Very tonal, like very tonal. Like it needed how do I word it? It needed like tones, like very like melodic-y tones, but not like color based. So, the main lead sound that you hear in the drop, the main like syncopated rhythm, the bum 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 boom bum bum bum, that rhythm sound, I really had to get it right for me, like, and I will go over how I got that, because like it was a lot of like looking at it visually too of how I wanted it, because like dubstep, in my opinion, making a really good dubstep song, it comes down to a lot of vowel movements, because people love hearing a voice, like a vocal, because we're so accustomed to it. So when you don't have a vocal, it's something like that's very um, one tone, usually, like one bass note. In this case, it's E flat minor. So just an E flat or a D, let's say, whatever your key or your song is in. If it's hanging out mostly there, it can get really boring to the ear really quick if you're not having a bunch of movements and vowel, because unlike making something like this or something that's more melodic where the chords change, like I've done, like melodic bass, those actually change and morph, and they create the vowels themselves. So it's a lot easier to kind of get that to kind of sound like a vocal range in a way. I hope I'm making sense with this. But with dubstep, where you're on that one note, you need a lot of movements in that, growly tone area. So a lot of it, as you can hear, when the growl comes in, the growl's doing like a shape like this, and then the lasers are going like this, like the main syncopation. So it's it's a quite a balance of getting it down, but you don't want to overdo it. It can get really done, but it's a lot of contrast. Like especially with what I think makes a really good dubstep song is contrast, which is kind of what I was trying to get here. Is like you have the very big growls that are a lot wider, like they would go in widths, and we'll go into this, that have more widths, and then the lasers would go a little bit more closed in, similar widths. So it's a lot of playing with the mono and stereo too, the stereo field a lot more too, and there will be like snare contrasting. There will be I'll show all the contrasting. There's a lot. I had to do a lot for this song, because at least in the first half of the first drop, because I didn't do the arrangement of where you go build, drop, and then you do another build, another drop. I did more of the older, not older, but like where you just build right into it, 32 bar structure instead, which is actually, funny enough, is where dubstep actually came from. A lot of bro step did the 32 bar structure rather than doing what we do now a lot more times, which is usually more of an 8 bar build, 16 bar drop, and 8 bar build, 16 bar drop. The reason why that actually was created was for live sets, and now it's just turned into a natural arrangement that DJs make. But usually back then, dubstep was actually created in 32 bar structures for their drops, and then they just added the extra 8 bar like builds for their live sets to make it more engaging. This song actually had that, I actually believe, at one point, but I didn't want to do it in the end. So I built it all into one. And that's why you hear like that moment where everything rises up and pauses, and then it goes into like the machine gun bases, the lasers. So it's all that kind of stuff. Like that was my thought process, and I also wanted to combine, how I put it, my Norse realm a little bit, because nine worlds, as some of you might know or might not know, is that nine worlds comes from Norse mythology a little bit, the nine realms of Norse mythology. So you have Asgard, you have Helheim, Niflheim, lots of them. I can't name all of them right now off my head, but there's nine realms of them, and I really needed a theme for the song, and what better than to do a Norse theme. So I actually went and took a bunch of instruments and themed elements, and we'll get into this too, with how I connected the theme. And there's like horns, like brass horns from like the 1200s from Vikings, like actually recorded ones, and we'll get into that. I used, I think, an instrument called Asgard, which is sampled a library from that stuff. I've also used a lot of chants, a lot of Viking chants in this too. I think there's like a bell too that's from there too. So a lot of cool little Norse instruments. Like, it still fits the trance and like cinematic, but I had to kind of give it an identity. So it's a lot of stuff like that that really connect it. But yeah, let me see the chat here. Okay, cool. Well, we'll dive into this. Let me get my screen good to go. I think you guys can see this, if I'm right. Let me see. Can you guys see it? Yes, you can. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm just making sure because I was getting my switch screens. I'm hoping I don't have any issues with this project. I did freeze a lot of the big sounds, and this project is just actually, like, in my opinion, I think I overdid it a little bit. But, and you'll see it. Some of these stuff, like, that you'll see in here is actually, like, turned off and stuff, or, like, because I did so many revisions on this project. But there's like references in here, a lot of effects. Probably stuff I didn't need for a dubstep record, to be honest. It probably caused more harm to me than good, but honestly, I'm still just really happy with how it came out. So, I guess we will start with the. It's a lot. It's a lot. Probably one of my most. I think there's about 300 or 400. Yeah, about 300 and something, yeah, tracks. Some of these are turned off, I believe. Like in this group, I think, yeah, there's a bunch turned off in here. But, oh, I think my track is, oh, no, it's not. Yeah, no. I hope not. I froze some tracks today, but, yeah, this song was like, I think it took me about 5 months to get right. Like on and off, like it took a while. But there's a lot of projects. It's just something goes to show, like, it takes something to get something over that finish line into a really good position that you're happy with. Don't rush it. There comes a point that you just need to call it done, which I think came to with mine. I got to a really happy position. And there's obviously a song. You can work on a song as much as you want, and honestly, you'll probably keep finding stuff over time, especially if it's over months. You will find more things. That, like, maybe the mix needed this, or maybe I could add this new sound, or whoa, like, I found this new preset or this new sound, and now you rewrite the whole drop. Like, that happens. That totally can happen. But there comes a point where you just gotta, like, say, I'm vibing with it, I really like it, and I want to get this thing done. And I was in a really happy position with how the song was sounding, and I just had to call it done. I'm so happy with it still. Oh yeah, no, it happens to us all. It does. But honestly, yeah. If there's any specific parts that you guys want to start on first, other than that, then we will, or any questions, on any of that stuff, or like just music production in general, or any of the creative process, we can go into that quick. Or yeah, I'll start on the breakdown otherwise, unless there's any other parts, and or anything specifically you want to make sure that gets covered here. And yeah, we'll probably do. I'll go a little bit on the last drop and second break, like how I just did some minor variation and stuff, but mainly we'll be going over the first half of the song in detail. Other than that, yeah, we'll get into there. So yeah, I have an intro group, or let's actually just quickly go over the big stuff actually. So I usually group my song as one big bus in Ableton. So I group usually my vocals, all this, like whatever my song has, and I group them. And I actually turn down the master, like it's a pre-master in a way, because my stuff actually usually clips, but because I turn down this input gain, it doesn't, because of the limiter. And I actually work with a limiter on, actually. And my master chain is nothing. On all my songs, it is nothing. It's all in the mix. Which some people will master a lot, some people won't. My opinion on the mastering is, if the mix sounds really, really tight, and you get it really, really tight, and you get it in a really, really good position, your master will do the same, long as that you're not like clipping. Um, and honestly, like all I have here is a mono stereo split. This is just literally to monitor sides and mono. Like I can click on my thing right here. I can just click for this. Yeah, and then it will be just a mono, or if I want it just in stereo. And I hope I'm muting myself, by the way, when those parts are playing, because I don't want playback. I'm on my monitors, but yeah, just let me know if there's no feedback, because I have a mute hotkey here. But that's what that's for, is just to monitor anything that's like weird going on the sides. I did use this quite a bit for some of the bass design, actually, just to make sure my stereo was sitting really good. But no, so this is just a split. I use it sometimes just to monitor stuff. I have a hotkey for my utility here, which is just to monitor my mono signal. Even in melodic bass, I will monitor this because it's still very important for a genre like that. Even though you're very, very wide, you still need mono. But dubstep's a little bit more mono because it's like very in your face, like with the basses. And then I just have a mid-side EQ here on the sides, just dipping out 85 hertz. And now this is just making sure the sub is like not weird down and below like 85 hertz, 100 hertz in wide, because it just sounds really weird. Like the lower you go in width, or like just in general, like the harder it becomes. Like, how do I explain it? Like, if you have a really wide sub, it's going to phase, and it's also going to sound like earthquake sounding, which doesn't sound natural in an actual context of a song. Like, it sounds very unnatural. Like, it can be a creative effect, but you don't want to be on your actual like whole of your song. It just creates up a lot of headroom on your master, can add up to distortion, and you're ultimately going to have a really weak bass. Yeah, ask it, Anthony. But that's really what I do there, and I just don't like. I like doing a decent cut around 85 hertz or 80 to 90 hertz or 95 hertz, because I want some bleed in of my width so it doesn't just cut like drastically, and I also don't cut it too high so I lose like warmth in the sides. So that's why I do it around there. Like that's what I find best for me, at least. It kind of like goes nicely on like a slope like this. Like it just goes on a nice slope. So it's just like it's warmth, because you just don't want it to be unnatural. So that's why I pick the curve I do. It's just a preference. And then I also have a span on mids and side on a high response rate. And if I'm right, you can put the high response rate right here. Average time is 50. My block size is 46, and the same thing is for the sides. This is just to monitor everything. You guys can still hear me when I'm muting, right? Or when I'm unmuting. Can you guys just let me know if you can hear me? I think I'm talking. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm just double checking. Cause okay, cool. What's up, Slimboa? Trying to sample a song at high pitch, pal. Set it to high tempo along with chosen. I do have an Instagram if you want to shoot me a message like that. Usually trying to sample a song at a high pitch, and set it at a high tempo along with the chosen musical instruments. Thank you. I kind of go what you mean. Are you talking about the actual whole file? Or are we talking about a specific instrument? Because if we're talking about a specific instrument, it's going to come down to your BPM of the original file, or if you're speeding it up with your project. And also, it depends on the sound. Like, if you're doing something like an actual musical instrument, you would probably want to use either tones, like on audio. Like, if I go into an audio quick, you would want to go into something like here in Ableton. Beats is really good for drums and stuff, and like very tight rhythms. Complex Pro and Complex are really good for like actual like singing material, and tones and textures, or none at all, are better for stuff like bass stuff. So I hope that kind of answers your question. It's just choosing a good warp algorithm and then the original BPM. But if you want to go more in depth on that, just send me a DM on Instagram. My DMs are always open. Yeah, and then just finishing up on the master chain. Other than that, I literally just have a Pro L on loudness, so I can monitor the loudness. Oversampling is a 4x, and it's on transparent. That's literally it. I don't do anything crazy on my master. I also have a mini meters because I like to visually see what my song's doing while I'm making it and in the mastering stage. And that's it. Everything else is mixed. There's no pre-master. This is just for like taming some of the high end in the builds. Like I'm pretty sure, yeah, like same with the low end a little bit, just so it like slopes off like this rather than cuts really high at some points. And that's really it. So I guess getting into the drones and stuff and like building this atmosphere. Lots of stuff. So there's like a lot of company impacts and stuff. There's stuff like this. I'll just go through a few of them. I mute a lot of like reverses and stuff. And then you got like this symbol going right into it. I reuse a lot of these. This is the main impact, I believe it is. So I just reversed this, which you can just press R to do, if it will do it for me. Yeah, so you just click R on Ableton or on Windows, and that will reverse. And I just filtered that nicely off. I do a side cut on my impacts just so it's not very wobbly. In the low end, like you'll get just a cleaner sound a little bit by doing this. Also, but like what I said, sometimes you want that low end width sometimes, but make it a creative effect rather than a mix effect, I would say. Okay, I think I got that. Might need help and collaboration from you if you're available anytime. I'm using BandLab right before FL. Yeah, no, send me a DM or add me on Discord. I'm in the Bass Rebels Discord, so you can always add my profile through there if you would like, and just send me a DM or something. Or you can hit me up on my Nine Worlds Music Instagram. That's my username, and I could definitely go into questions like that. But just trying to keep things moving along too. We got another impact. Oh, I did so much. This is just for texture, actually, I think. Actually, it's another low impact. For some reason, it sounded good, so I did it. Yes, I am. Yes, I can go into 808s, too. And this is the main background atmosphere that you hear. I'm just cutting some of here because it's like 300 hertz because it got really muddy. It also needed some more mono compatibility, so that's going on. And I'm also doing filtering so it opens up over time, just creating movement right before the main break hits, right before the melody. And then there's also no, good, no, absolutely, I know, and I appreciate you being here, and I hope you can definitely pick up some stuff in here. I'm gonna go as much over its questions as I can. And yeah, just shoot me questions, or if you want me to go over it apart again, just let me know. So we have this impact here. That's the main like crash. Once again, doing the side trick here. I also put some reverb on some of these impacts just to like let them come out a little bit more. I open up the high too, just to allow the high end to not get filtered so much, but it doesn't get like super harsh and white noise. That's why I don't go to like 20K up here. So it's just nice, and you're controlling your reverb. There's also, I think that's pretty much most of the opening effects right there. Then we got, I think some of these are the atmospheres. So there's a lot of drones in here. And I'm also filtering these, I think at some point in the song. Yeah, I filter these in the second break for variation. Just for variation in the second break. And then they're just some Omnisphere patches. Like this one's not anything crazy. It's just like a saw. This one's like a bell. or of some sort. Let's see. There's a lot of movement to this too, yeah. So it's like a pad. It's just a pad. I used an Omnisphere. And I'm doing some Redux by the looks of it somewhere. Or maybe not. That was just, like I said, trying something else here. And then I'm just literally just using some mid-side OTT just to expand the sound, some saturation to warm it up, some reverb to create more of the atmosphere around it. And I have a... I don't think I ended up using the crystallizer. I don't believe. Nope, actually I did. So what I'm doing here with the crystallizer is I'm kind of trying to create a melodic bed behind it. So you can hear it kind of fluttering. And that's coming from the crystallizer there. See, if I turn it off, but I put it back on. And I'm just creating an atmosphere. Movement, textures. It's all about movement with something like melodic. All these little things that build the theme, build the song. Because no song should just be sitting and not evolving. Like, music's all about, like, moving the picture, moving the story. And it needs life. Whether it's in writing, like melody or chord changes, or sound choicing, or making realistic movements. No, that's a Sound Toys. You can get it on Sound Toys. I actually believe it's on sale right now. Beautiful plugin. Highly recommend it. So that's really all that's doing here. Just some low cutting too, just to control the sound. I probably should have did a little bit more of an aggressive cut now looking back, but... I also gave it some mono here and cut some of the highs just to make it more mono compatible. Just so it like really punches out of the mix still and like actually retains. And then this one is just a drone. Literally just like a saw. You can make this quick in any synth. And I'm just filtering off some highs. I'm just going to freeze that. Oh wait, it's actually pretty easy. I can open this up too. So all it is just some OTT to expand it. Tighter the timing, the tighter everything will sound. Less over here, the more washy you can get, or more like the tails and like release can come out more. And like this is more effective on like bass design, I would say, rather than atmospheres or like very reverb sounds. Like with very heavy reverb. This is like a decent amount. Actually, it might just be in the patch, actually, with this one. But it's very similar. I think I just duplicated the same chain, other than the crystallizer over here, I believe, and just added on to it a little bit. And yeah, by the looks of it. Let me see what questions we got in here. I'm just going to try and refreeze this. Yeah, cool. I'm in New York, so I live by Eastern time. Whenever you are, am I able to contact you and need you? Like, yeah. Yeah, send me a message. I'll be off my Instagram live by then too. So, yeah, just send that. That's all good for me. I'm in Eastern time as well. So that's really the atmospheres here. And just doing some mix bus kind of stuff, just taming in here for the like cleaning out for leads and stuff. If you had a vocal, like this would be what you would be wanting to do sometimes. More so on the individual, but that's usually there. I actually add another atmosphere. So many company sounds, to be honest. Just like a low rumble, taking out that low bass frequency. I gave it more mono here. Took out some sides because I felt like it was very rumbly. And then also cleaned out some mud. Made it room for the bass. But this only stays here for this section in context. Just so like it creates some body, some natural warmth, because the bass isn't fully in yet. So it's all about just creating some natural lows in this section. Natural lows being not very tonal lows as much, or it can be tonal lows, but it's very low in the background. Like it kind of moves around a little bit. That's natural low end, where I'm not using like a Reese or a bass, which we will get into. And just like repeating some of the effects, like little washes. So stuff like that. there's like a lot of little risers and stuff. We'll get into that too. We also have, here's, oh, here's my voice. Anybody wants to sample it. Just creating like the Norse kind of theme. I didn't pitch it. This is just me. Oh man. Oh, I tuned it though. I tuned it with auto tune here just to make sure I was in speed, like in key. Just like a normal thing. Took out some of the lows, reverbed it pretty heavily. And it's just something in the background for the intro, just to create more texture. There's wind effects or water effects, creating the natural lows of the theme. I wanted to be opening up like a battle. Like I kind of envisioned what's water a little bit, like wind and battle, as you can also see on the artwork as well. So just some stuff, and this is panned a little bit to the right, just to create some texture and movement, and so not everything's in the middle per se. But this has no EQ or anything. I didn't think it needed it, and like that's why like I don't EQ everything. But if this was actually over another section with bass and stuff, I would have low cut this. But this didn't need it. Here, let me see what we got. This is the horn, actually. Yeah, I think I ended up turning this off. Yeah. So there's a few instruments here. I think this is the horn right here. Yeah, this is the horn right here. So this is what I was talking about, theme building. Now, I wanted a Nordic theme, so what better than to use a Norse instrument called bronze horn. So it's just like a normal horn, nothing crazy. So I just rendered this out after into resampling, and then I mixed it. So for example, just to give it that washed and distant sound, I opened up the decay, a lot of the high cut here, so the high end comes through a lot more, it cuts through. A little bit of mix, because I still want it to be kind of dry and in your face. I wanted that natural lows, but I didn't want it boomy, because we also had like the other atmosphere, so I don't want it to add too much. I wanted that high end that cuts through, so I brought up the high so it has presence and you could hear it in the mix. And then I brought up the saturated just to give it warmth, more feeling to it, and also brings up the presence in the mix. I mid-sided it here too, just to clean up that 240 zone and below. Just to make it like not get muddy really quick. Alright, I gotta go. Nice talking with you, Night World. I'll hit you up on IG tonight. Sounds good. Well, thanks for tuning in. I hope you got some value, and this should be up on YouTube after, so feel free to watch it. And yeah, I hope you get some value from this, and I'm excited to hear from you. Let's see what else. I also boosted the high end again. I work like this where I have multiple EQs, like I just keep adding. So this one, just boosting some more high end. And then I think I filtered off the reverb after, because I felt like it needed to be cleaner. Yeah, because without it, it just kind of hung out for too long. Yeah, and it just gets like a little unclean, and like that's the thing with your reverbs and like what I was saying about automations is that you want everything to be evolving and naturally spaced. And also it helps create the theme and also creates punctual music. Because like for example, if you have a reverb, I'm pretty sure Seven Lines said this at one point somewhere, is that if you have a very long reverb going throughout your whole song for an element that happened a minute ago, your music's not going to be that punctual possibly, like depending on the way that you affect it, because you're just allowing this element to bleed through the song, and you're not allowing to create dynamics and punctual, which, you know, like music that does that becomes really interesting because it has those dynamics and the clarity. So that's kind of what I'm doing here in a way, is like just filtering it off over time. I'm also just bringing up the gain here. So that's the horn. This, I don't know what it is. It's not used, so I won't go into that. This is like a violin, I believe. Yep. It's just like an Asgard violin kind of thing. Flute. And all this is just a nice instrument to help build the theme again. And I raise it here just to raise up with everything else. Just little things like this. I put a decapitator on it because I wanted a different kind of warmth compared to the other saturators in the song, just to give it some analog feel a little bit more and warmth. And that's all that's happening here. We have another transitional effect here, which this is just a sword sound, building the theme again. Because it's kind of battle themed. It's Norse. It's Vikings in a way. And that's what you're hearing here. Without it, it's kind of boring. Like, it's still there, you know, but you're expecting something. Like it's these little moments. And it just creates it. And all I'm doing is, once again, just taming some, like, low end and some low mids, just to clean it up a bit. I have a glitch, or no, like an orchestral roll here. Just taming some of that natural lows, some of the low mids. Without it, it actually carries this right here. If I put it back, and it creates that theme again. Vikings, like Norse. It helps create that feeling. We also have some risers and stuff. You're probably wondering why I let this go over. Is because I wanted it to kind of bleed over, kind of like a tonal effect. So it kind of like swells and like creates the transition rather than being hard on the grid. I want it to bleed over, just create that tone, like that's going over, and it kind of creates it less than like bar kind of sometimes doing stuff like this. It just creates some bleed over, like it just creates a natural atmosphere, and like, you know, it just helps build the song and evolve once again. We also have, I already went over those impacts. There's some glitches from previous sound design sessions right here. Just some weird stuff. Once again, just cleaning up the sound on the sides so it's not like rumbly on the sides. Taking care of that low end, some high end, because these are glitches. There's another one over here. And that's one you hear without it. It's all about texture. Same here. Put it back. Huge part of the song. I also layered up another glitch here. Just like a little reverse one. These are ones I've made. I might put them into a sample pack down the line. Not sure yet. But there's also a previous atmosphere reverse effect I've made. Right here. And this one is just taming some of that tone that comes through. I think it's on the E flat right here. At around 918 hertz. And then I'm doing just a little bit of redux movement. All about these little movements. And that's just creating like a nice... Without it. Bring it back. Just like a little thing in the back. Also have this riser again come in. Just creating all this stuff. We also have the bass here. We'll go into this guy in a sec. Once I finish these. Just some sweeps, downs. This guy does an auto pan just for like light stuff, and I also turn down the gain of the clip. So we're just creating like a little bit of movement, so it just doesn't repeat in the same way as before. So it just has some movement. Absolutely. No, it's all these little things. Like, it creates life in the song. And it just helps aid the song and feel more also realistic. We're making electronic, but we're still making music, you know, like, I don't know how to put that into a better term, but like, you know, we're trying to, like, especially with stuff like, at least that I try and do, I try and create organic still. Like, I try to create themes and worlds, but try to make it sound organic. So that's something right there, is those little touches right there. Another little glitch, I think. Pan. This guy might do a panning somewhere. I'm not 100% certain. Yes, it does. So this guy pans right here. Just like a little thing like that. It's not something you can incredibly notice now looking back, but it's like little things like that. If you're like listening on headphones. Then I just have like a reverse orchestral here. Once again, we're still in a natural low part, so I'm just letting all the low end. And now getting into more fun stuff. Bass design. So we have this Reese that I'm filtering right here. So it's just filtered right here. Let me find the filter. So it's filtering, but it's opening up right here. Just opening up that filter a little bit. It's just creating that movement, and I'm also going to start bringing back the low end. The low end starting to come. I think it was starting to come back. Yeah, the low end's starting to come back. No, I think I'm moving around the low end quite a bit. Let me see. So it starts off and it's moving up. So just creating actually some movement actually here. And then I turn it all the way off, and oh, that's where I should have did that. See, what I would have did, but especially for drop subs, especially with low end cutting and or even high cutting like this, I should have did. I didn't think of it here probably for some reason. But I always, when the filter is not on, I do this. I absolutely, or other way around. Because you're actually introducing something. I learned this from producing Psytrance, is that you're actually introducing post ringing actually in your low end most of the time. The lower the frequency, the more potential you have of post ringing or phasing too. In which leaving this on creates like resonant bumps sometimes, and that's how you get a low end. So let's say you just have a static sine. Instead of the sine just cutting off, and you put a filter on there a little bit around like 50 or 40 hertz. That sub now might ring out a little bit longer. So you need to account for that now. So that's why, especially on drops, I always don't do that. Or I would have did it here, actually, if I went back. But that's something to take note of there. So it's just causing some movement, though. This is just my starter rack. It's just a hard curve saturator. I use this thing all the time. Highly recommend it. I got it from Blank, I believe, actually. Or made something very similar to that. It's beautiful. I use it on everything. Just doing some of this, we'll go into the patch quick. So the patch, which carries a lot of the break here, a lot of the weight if I take it off, is a patch I designed in Serum. It's just like a little bit of unison here. I actually took out the fundamental here, so I just, instead of it looking like this or like around here, I bring this down, so you're not getting the fundamental of the sub anymore. And I take that one off. I think I left a little bit of this one actually. Sometimes I do that just to like have a little bit of the saw in there too in the sub. And then I put a direct out sub. I actually have this one not detuned, so it's straight in the middle still. This right here is actually an LFO at a bar where I'm actually having the sub actually move a little bit, because you know we're still creating natural, you know, music in a way. You know, as much as you want your sub to be all the time in your face, really, really hard, which yes, this sub is, but a little bit of movement, like a couple dB, isn't gonna hurt a little bit for a verse or a breakdown, because you're creating natural lows again in a little bit, and you don't want to overdo this, because you don't want your sub like looking like this on span or feeling like this, because then you're just going to be phasing all the place. It's going to be very unweak. But if you have just a little bit, like a little bit, the song is breathing. Especially if you have very fast arps or you have other things going on. you kind of sometimes want a little bit of movement that pulses a little bit. Kind of like what a natural, like if you look at future garage, for example, in that genre, their basses are moving like this all the time, but they're more ambient music. But what I'm trying to get at is that their subs are moving a little bit. It creates an ambient tone to it. So that's really all that's going on here, and just a little bit of a high shelf to tame the high end. A little bit of the high end, a little bit of distortion. And we've got a normal filter slope just to cut off that high end a little bit. But in terms of stuff that I'm processing, I used a thermal preset here called Shadow Bass. I don't think I touched it much. I just put some of the wet down, and that's where a lot of the distortion's coming from, like right here. It's like a notch filter. I could kind of go into it a little bit. So they have like, I think a little bit of a reverb, it sounds like, on here. Yeah, just a little bit of a reverb that creates size. I do this on a lot of neuro stuff. Reverbs vary, especially convolution I do a lot more of now. So that's kind of like what's happening there. I have a disperser. It gives it like a weird tone to it a little bit, like more of a punctual, like valley tone a little bit. Then I just have this autofill, which actually is doing a heavy amount because I'm actually using it on OSR, which is more of a dirty slope a little bit more. Like it's a little bit more of a creative slope, and I'm using it on a 24, so it's wider. And I turned up the drive so it has its inbuilt distortion, because otherwise you don't have that. So I just turned that up, and that's where you're getting that. It's doing a heavy amount. Then I'm just ducking some of this 147 hertz by a couple dB just to clean up the song a little bit so it's not like over the top bassy and boomy. I'm doing a little bit of a mid-side around 93 hertz because I still want some natural sides kind of coming through, but I don't want it interfering with my low sub. And just a little bit of that 200 hertz, because a lot of 200 hertz or 250 can add up a lot if you're not careful. And then I'm just giving some mono for the high end, just so it really cuts through the mix, because a lot of times what won't be cutting through in mono from a stereo kind of source is usually your high end or your mids a little bit. Those will be the most hardest to usually get the cut through on sides, I find, with sounds or creating sounds. And this automatically will help open up the song. See? I'm in mono right now. It's just cutting through a lot more. So it's also going to add a lot more loudness to the song because of the mono signal, like that. And then we also got just another, again, side EQ, cutting a little bit, just taming and cleaning it up. Like, this is the little changes I did. Oh yeah, more high more high end here. I tamed some of 3K because I didn't want it to be really harsh and scratchy. Like, a lot of this range can take up clarity of your song. Like, you may have a really good bass and a really good high end, but if you were not careful with this range, like around 2500 to 3K-ish zone, it can add up a lot of scratchy tones and scratchy noise kind of to the mix if you're not careful, which can take up clarity. But not having this zone, your song can sound a little bit weaker, less present, so you have to have a healthy balance of this range. I'm just cleaning up around here just so it's not so boxy, a little bit more neuro. Around here, just another cleanup again. And here, I think something spiked, if I believe, in the bass on one of the fundamental, in the second fundamental here, or the first harmonic of the bass. It seems like that spiked, so I needed to tame it with some compression in a way. So only when it hits a certain threshold, it'll bring it down by a couple dB. When it gets to, like right there, you can see it when it's jumping. Yeah, because it's a neuro. That's why I'm doing it. So when you see it hit on that, yeah, see, right now it's going to get really loud, potentially. So I'm just trying to make sure it doesn't overlap my bass too much is what I'm doing there. Here, I felt like, because I usually sometimes do them separately, but with my sub, I just felt like it needed some more sub. So I just gave it a low pass, or a low shelf. Down here, just giving some low end, some more low end, and taming that 1K by looks like it, and that 270. So cleaning up some boxiness or some boominess, and cleaning up some presents for the leads. I actually bring some of it back, I guess, here. That's how I work, though, is like lots of different little EQs like this. I'm actually taming some air by the looks of it here. Again, cleaning up that fundamental, or that second, or not second, the first harmonic of the sub here. And just making sure it's nice and clean. Then this is just for creative stuff that we've been over. Brought down some gain here, and then here's some interesting stuff. When the kick plays, I duck the sub by peak. You want to make sure this is on peak for this. This is just side chaining, so then you're like it's just a lot more sharper if you have peak. Like it's a huge difference. And it's just like, it's just creating more movement, but I didn't want to completely duck it for this part. For my verses, I usually don't. If this was a drop and it had sub, 100%, we'll go into that. But yeah, stuff like that. Now for this section, now this is interesting. So for here, there's none of this, but I end up, yeah, this is the part. I actually make the sub pulse with the song, because there's an ARP here rolling really fast, and the sub was just sitting like this. Like it's just sitting. It's just sitting, which is like, it's cool, but when you have this fast ARP, you know, moving along, you kind of want to have sometimes some movement. So I'm making it pulse with the song, just for these sections. And he just creates integrity with the ARP. Everything else, everything else is bouncing around in the top here. And if you just have a static sub sometimes, and sometimes it's okay, like depends what you want. But I felt like it needed it for this song. Like, it's cool. It's cool, but like you just get so much more pulsing and movement and energy to the low end. Even though it's a very light amount, 30% on that low end, because I'm doing a split here. I'm not touching this on the high end. This is not on the high end. So I'm only doing this up to about 547 hertz by the looks of it is my split. And you can do this pretty easily just by doing like a split like that. Like you pull one of these things to the side like this. That's how you'd go about it. But that's how I went about this, is just creating more movement just in those below like frequencies, just so it pulses with the ARP more and like movement. But that's how I went about that. I think I layered up another bass to it. Oh, let's see. Yes, this guy's just more of like a silent patch. Mayon, like trancey bass. Put some RC coloring on here, I think, just to give it some like older vibe to it. Yeah, it's just doing some like vinyl. For some reason, my license isn't working right now. That's weird. It's just open too. But it's just like some vinyl crackle stuff. I use that thing all the time. Then we got, and also some tube distortion, I believe, is on there. Then I'm just filtering out some high end, because the other bass has that, so we're controlling the layers. And then I also just taming some of the bass frequency again, and then taming some sides here on the side EQ, just to tame this so it doesn't get too over busy in the mids, so it's still cutting through mono. And just a little bit of a low pass on the sides, because once again, we're trying not to have build up of a bunch of sides. Same side chain, and then this is the same shaper box. And once again, these shaper boxes only turn on when that full ARP comes in. Right here, they're static, and that's where that happens. So it's just creating like a bigger bass. It just creates that full sound. This is just some atmosphere layers. I'm just trying to go through so we can get to that drop quicker, just for time wise. But I can always go back on anything. So just got some harp stuff here, just some like atmosphere stuff. I might be automating some stuff. Nope, not here. This is just playing like a cool little, it actually might be the lead line. It might be very similar to the lead line, actually. It's just like an Arcus instrument, just doing some phaser for movement on the sound, so it's not just a stock sound, because it didn't have movement anywhere else with automation. Just saturating it to bring it up in the mix and add some extra harmonics. And then once again, just a lot of low cut, some high end coming through, so it cuts through in the mix a little bit more, because this is a very huge mix, there's a lot going on. And then just cleaning up that low mids again, just making it less boomy. And then just another more sweeps reversing into here. Just stuff like that. This might be a reverse choir. Yeah. Now this is 15 building 2. This came from a Contact or Native Instruments instrument. Mysteria, I think, or something. I don't know if that's the name or something. It's something with an M. I'm sure one of you could comment it below, but really cool bank. So I just did something there and resampled it as a reverse. Just like a little detail, kind of thing. Also just gonna freeze these again just to make sure nothing crashes on me. I got these like little sparkles and textures throughout the intros. Just so it's not just white noise impacts, that's really all that is. And then I'm just boosting some of the presence a little bit in 1.5 because that's where we also audibly detect a lot. Yo, Zo, what's up? How's it going? Excited that you're here. We're just going through Realm Breaker right now. But basically, that's also another theme building, like chimes and stuff. Here's where it gets really cool. The huge layer of this song and identity is the choir. And it's playing some chords here. For some reason it's like glitching right now, but just doing some filtering and some gain automation so it kind of filters in on the intro here. Which right here, what's it called? This part I don't have the choir, so it has contrast and it's like intro, just getting some of the elements down. And then we bring in the choir to start fading in the chords and the bass notes starts filtering in. And then we bring them fully in here, which is doing a huge part. So this is doing a huge part. Like the gain is right here, actually goes up a dB for this section just to bring it up in the mix. Yeah, I'm just trying to look. This part here, right here, I'm just doing some cool little automations for the build, going between the build. So they're just there. You're filtering it down a little bit with the filter. And all this really has this patch. It's an Omnisphere patch, which is a huge part of this song. Just a choir, full choir from Omnisphere. Got some Valhalla on here, just some more reverb, very light amount, pretty much stock settings by the looks of it. But I didn't want to do too much because I want it to be wide, but it also needs to be up front and center like the rest of the song because it's quite an important element of this and the theme. And so that's why I just don't have a lot of reverb either on there. And you're going to see why I did the mid side here too. But just once again, cleaning up the low mids, the bass frequencies, sub frequencies on this EQ. On this EQ, I'm taming some of here because, like I was saying earlier, if you have a lot of sides coming through around anywhere from the mids to the highs, and not a lot of mono, it's not going to cut through the mix as much. That's where the presence is. That's where the tones are. And so that's why I'm taming and pulling back some of this here, and then I'm boosting the high end to give it in the mono to cut through the mix more and have more mono compatibility. I did some soothes because I think I did some soothes. Hey, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. Did I not? Once again, me trying stuff. Then that's just the automation of like the volume going up here and then also fading in and fading down in the build. There is this side chain comes on for the drop. Just so it. That's what's happening there. So it's just on for the drop, and I don't have it actually at 100% mix because I didn't want it to be like really choppy. Like I could have went in that direction if I wanted, but I decided not to because I also like having natural too, and that's just kind of how I go about things. Is like sometimes different side chains like that, and I get that from like trance and stuff, and like side trance. Then we already went over the Redux. There's another Valhalla here. I think this is for an effect somewhere. I think it's for the break. Might be for the break. Maybe not. Oh wait, no, it's for the outro. Yeah, that's for the outro. Same with the filtering. I filter in everything a little bit more here. That's all that's really for. I think I cut the volume pretty aggressive. Yeah, I turned down the volume on the drop here. The reason why I'm cutting that there is because right on that second hit, I still wanted it to kind of bleed in because I like the natural effect sometimes, but I didn't want it to be overpowering when the bass came in too. So that's why I'm controlling my reverb, punctual music. So it just creates. Maybe I could show this on the EQ on the one here. Let me see if I can show this. It's just like a little bit cleaner, like, and it just kind of holds out even louder. So it's like a little cleaner. It's just like a little bit cleaner. And that's basically what this sound is. That's all there is. And then just some side chain for the verse, or the break to the kick. I should have turned this on peak, but I don't think it needed that aggressive. That's probably why I chose that. I did it for the bass. And then this one's just a pad right here. Pretty cool pad. I use this one quite a bit. Pretty organic. It's just a normal pad. This one's playing actual chords. So that's kind of what's going on there. Just a starter rack, fattening up the sound, making it more present, giving it some warmth. That's all this is doing. You'll see me use this more than a few times, probably in the drop more. And then here, I'm actually filtering natural, once again, natural lows are here, and I filter this guy up. That's all I'm doing here. Movement. I'm taming some of the sides here on the lows, on the low mids, and the in the mids, just to make more mono compatible and also cleaning up the space. And then I'm pushing this, making it more mono compatible. Very similar process, as you can see, quite going through a bunch of these sounds. Then I felt that the song needed some more warmth, so we added a pad here, just like a silent pad. It just creates some like nice warmth to the song that the song kind of needed. And it's just like a standard pad, taking out some of the high end, taming some of this 1K, and then we're taming the the low mids and the bass a little bit, because without this pad, it kind of falls flat a little bit. So having this pad is pretty important. I'm just gonna make sure it freezes again. So these pads are pretty important for the song. And then we get into the leads. Oh, these are fun. So I was kind of coming up a cool lead line. So we're starting on the tonic, then we're going up to the 5th and the 4th degree of the scale, I believe. Yeah. And so there we have the main. This is a violin. Just like a normal kind of like violin. Just building on the theme again. We're kind of Norse a little bit. This is a Stradivari violin. I love this thing. Beautiful instrument. Yeah, this one's pretty simple. All I'm doing is just saturating a bit, cutting those lows again, bring some presence up here in the 3K, and mid side taking a lot of down here because I really wanted to be mono, and just boosting some body tone here for the lead, so it cuts through a little bit more, and then we brought some highs in the mids, in the mids, just to like really cut through in those highs. See, it's like kind of falling flat without it in a mono. And it's just going to cut through nicely. Now we're just taming some of that a little bit on the mids. Just a little bit in that scratchy region I was talking about. That's what's on that lead. I'm just going to freeze this again. Just to make sure, because otherwise this project is going to crash off. This one is just a normal like detuned lead. I think I'm automating the detuned actually effect on this one, I believe. Creating more movement space. Yeah, I created this one. So all it is just like a little detune knob, so I can detune it over time. Just some unison detune here. Very simple, just some distortion. Cleaning it up once again in the low mids. Taming some of the highs, making it more mono compatible. Yeah, literally just make it more mono compatible. And we're automating the detune on some of these little parts. On these parts. And we're actually going to go up an octave on this one. In which, when I play the song back, and you hear the detune, and you also hear the, there's also some filtering, I think, on the group, actually. Which we can get into. I'm filtering it down, actually, on this group. Yeah. We'll actually go into the group in a sec, actually. So let me play this back. Because if I kept the same octave, like, it would have, it's cool. Wait, did I mute myself again? I don't know if I muted myself. Okay, now we're good. We're good. What's it called? But the higher octave, it just creates that dramatic effect that I was wanting. So that's kind of what's happening here with this guy. And then there's another lead. Yes, shit tons of lead. This one is a pluck now. Creating rhythm. It needs rhythm. Like, you can really hear this. You can really hear this one here. Yeah, no, okay, I was muted that time. Okay, because I'm getting lost track with that. But this one is on a lower octave. on a lower octave so you can feel the pluck a little bit more, and then this one goes up for more like texture. And it's just like, it's creating this rhythm. And I don't think I'm automating anything here. I actually have the gain louder in the beginning because it was quieter, more filtered, and I need some rhythm there. That's why I have it turned up here. Yeah, there's lots. Now this lead carries the song quite a bit. This is just like an Omnisphere patch. Like I think it's like metal something. Metal something. Let me see. Yeah, metal heart attack. So it's just like a metal pluck. Filtering it out just for the top texture. Yeah, just filtering it for the top texture. You know, bringing it out in the mix. Another multi-band dynamics, bring up the tightness so it's a little tighter. It's not so reverbed out. And just a lower amount with some output gain turned up. Once again, just trying to filter it for the texture, so cleaning up around that scratchy area, a little bit more in the mids. And we also have a filter on here just to create some movement, more punctual. And that carries a huge part of this section right here. So yeah, that lead plays a huge part in this break, and the drop too, right over here. All these leads come back. Actually, 4 of these leads come back right here. Mute myself. I keep muting myself and forgetting. Okay, let me see. Yeah, there's pretty much a lot of leads. More body toned lead. Yeah, just like a body tone lead to create thickness. Nothing crazy. I'm automating an RC20 for some reason on. Only I should have just left it on, but just like adding more warmth texture. Starter rack, thickening it up, cleaning up the sound again. I'm just trying to make sure we're good on time, because this is a huge break. And just cleaning up the sides, making more mono compatible. And then I think we have one more lead. More of a characteristic lead. Yeah, this one's crazy. Just like a weird, weird instrument. Just some weird thing. Building on the texture. So that's the leads, I'm pretty sure. Yes. So let me freeze those back up. Just want to freeze all these again. Just so then our project does not crash. Because I'm just trying to get to the build and drop quick, because that's going to take a huge amount of time. Just a standard drone, reverbing it out, adding some saturation, filtering out some of the highs and the lows, and adding some widths here actually, so it's not in the center. I wanted to add some widths, and then adding a side chain to it. Okay, yeah, there's so much to this. Creating a little ostinato kind of art pattern. Building theme. That's really it. And then we actually bring back the horn, actually, for this part. And it's just creating and building the theme. That's really what it's doing. It's the same horn from earlier that you heard, the bronze horn. And it has some reverb, just some reverb again. Huge OTT, huge time, huge amount, because I need those big tails coming through. And then we're bringing up the highs, the mids. We all want some presence on this sound to really cut through the mix still, but not overtake it. And build the theme. And then we're just taking out some low mids in the mids, and we're cutting some of the sides, making it more mono compatible. That's really what's happening there. And this is just like building the song, building the break. That's really what this is doing. And then I think this is a different ARP. Yeah, another ARP here. Just yeah, OTT. This is just like a Hypha. I think it's under Hypha. Yeah, this is under Hypha. Yeah, just weird melody stuff. I did. Just a starter rack kind of thing. Taming some ringing points in the mids, just cleaning it up, and then we're doing some filtering just on the intro. That's really what's happening. Oh yeah, while I'm thinking of it, yes, I had some group stuff here. So this is creating the LFO effect on some of these sounds, actually. Just kind of creating movement in the sounds. I don't know if that's like a subscriber sound or a follow sound. I don't know what that is, but thank you forever that was, because I for some reason I don't get pop-ups, but I heard a sound. But yeah, we have some reverb. I think this is just an automation for reverb. Yes, right before the drop, actually. That just creates like a swell, I think. Yeah, it's just like holding out the reverb. Just doing some filter automations here. Oh yes, this is quite important for the build. I'm doing a shift on the lead bus to give it that intensity. And then I'm just filtering out some stuff like down just to like create contrast so it doesn't like, it still hits a lot louder in the drop. What's up, Last Love? What's up? Excited to have you here. I hope you watch this and learn something from it. And also, guys, if any of you want me to go over stuff again, let me know as well. Right now we're just going through the breakdown of this. But just like little automations, like on redoxing and coarse pitch kind of stuff. And just really just kind of grouping the sound together, like, you know, mid-side OTT, just bringing out the sound, cleaning up the sound. It's really all we're doing here. It's just cleaning up the sound, mid-side EQing, just cleaning up for mono, bring this out so it has presence in the mono. I think I did some soothe here. Yes, I did. All I'm doing here is just soothing it so then it's like not getting harsh and like adding up. That's really what I'm doing there. And yeah, it's just really just some light EQ, like just like cleaning it up, grouping it together on this group, and just some creative effects. And then this is just the side chain, and then this is when the leads replay in the drop. Yes, I'm pretty sure we'll be on YouTube. This should be on YouTube, so yeah. So you should be good to rewatch too. I am not recording right now. I don't know if Bass Rebels is recording the stream or not on their end, but it should be archived on YouTube. I would presume so. So it should be good. But This is just a sidechain for the drop that only automates on for the drop when the drop leads replay right in here. And this is just some gain automation and some auto filtering on the leads right here. That's all that's doing. So that's the lead bus. Just want to quickly go over that. And then, yeah, just stuff like that, really. Another kind of bell sound, hypha. Did I unmute myself? Okay, no, we're good. I think we're good. Yeah, okay, I'm just double checking. Cool. So this is just like a hypha instrument, just some saturation, some bringing the mono down, or like the sides down, or the widths down, I mean. So it's more monoed, it's more condensed, you can hear it. I'm also bringing up some of the highs in the mids, just so then it's more mono compatible, you can hear it more. And I'm also just bringing some of the gain for the group. All it is just cleaning up some of the sound for like the leads, the chords, like the choirs and stuff. Just gluing it together with some saturation, taming some of the sides, and we're actually boosting the mids. Once again, mono compatible. And then I actually just tame it with like a filter completely, just to like make it less boomy and more atmospheric, really. It's like building an atmosphere, kind of what I was doing, I'm guessing, here. And then just bring up the gain, automation on that little fill part here. That's all that's doing. And then we just got some sidechain, just really so that kit can punch through. I'm really just trying to go through. This is the... Oh yeah, there's so much I still have to cover in this break. It's such a big break, so bear with me here. I'm trying to go through as quick as I can. Yeah, I might have to skip over some stuff. Yeah, this is a lead. I might not go through some of the instruments now because it does take some time. So I'm just wanting to get through because we still have like all the drums here and then we have the drop still. But just like this cool little ARP kind of thing. Yeah, just cleaning up and distorting a little bit. This, I'm guessing I did it because I need more body. I cleaned it up. We also did a frequency shifter. Doing the same thing like the ARP. Yeah. Yeah, just stuff like this, really. I'll open up this one. But for the rest, I might not be able to. Let's see. Yeah, just like another lead. Now, once again, going back in the theme building, this is where I introduce a chant. Just right on the offbeat. Did I unmute myself? Okay, yes, we're unmuted. Cool. This sound was a part of the intro. Oh yes, I think I trance gate this actually. Yes, I turn up the mix on the trance gate so it starts to like start here. You can kind of hear it. Yeah, that's all I'm doing there, and just bring a shimmer in the intro just to like really bring it out. Just like this low kind of tonal Reese thing. Just building this theme once again, like building this Nordic theme. One last other thing we'll get into is that for this part, for this fill moment in the break, I designed some really unconventional leads in phase plant, and it's not even like, yeah, it's pretty whack, this thing. And then I made another one in Serum. Another one in Serum. Let's see. Yeah, this one's so weird. You get this like... just like creating this vowel movement with the band pass using some LFOs and controlling the detuning on the detune. So it's like moving, it's morphing. You get FM from noise. I think that's what's creating a lot of that. It's kind of creating a little bit of a buzzy sound. Then you have like hyper. Distortion's doing a lot. Just a light amount of phaser just to create some movement. And just some reverb. Phase plant that I made is just like pretty much a normal lead with some distortion, a saturator, a non-linear filter, so it's like a little bit more nastier sounding, and just some reverb. And then just some light cleaning up, some light reverb. And then on the bus, I'm automating the gain in for that fast. So it just kind of like fades in like this. And then I made a drum fill with this KJ Saka drum stuff right here. All I'm doing is just repeating some of the rhythms in here that I duplicated from it, and then just combine into like this really cool drum fill. Because without this whole fill here, it just kind of falls flat. So that's that. This is just a kick from the build. It's just like a blank kick. Very standard. Adding some more low ends to the kick here. Just some highs and cutting off some top, and then just bring up the volume. I think the gain automation is for the build. I think I turned down the kick a little bit during the build, just so like when it gets faster, it compensates for volume. Yeah, that's all this is. It's just like a literal kick, nothing crazy. This bus probably is just like compressing the kick a little bit. It's literally getting sent to here, which is just like just warming up the sound a bit. I never do that though, to be honest. So it's just making the kick a little bit more aggressive, and we'll go over that more. Yeah, just really just like a light effect, like a down lifter here. Yeah, no. So how are we feeling so far about the break? Because I'm about to finish up with just some of the effects and then some of the thing, and then we're just gonna head into the drop, the first drop probably. So just let me know how we're feeling, and I will move on in a sec. I'm just gonna take a drink of water quick. If there's any questions so far, let me know quick, and I'll go over anything. Whether it's scene building or anything like that. I'm just gonna see if I can see the chat on my computer. Yeah, okay, cool. But other than that, yeah, so it's just like a lot of effects. This one's a pretty... No, thank you. No, thank you for tuning in and coming by. Yeah, you take care, and I hopefully it will be up, and I hope you get a lot of value from it. Send me a DM if you have any questions about it or anything like that, and have a great rest of your night. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, so then I bring in some sword stuff here for scene building, some panning. Nothing crazy, just like an effect for scene building once again. Here's the orchestral loop that I built. It may kind of like it might, yeah, okay, I'm not muted. I keep always thinking I'm muted for some reason. Yeah, cheers. This is it may sound kind of weird on its own, this loop, but it's doing a heavy amount of the lifting, like of the rhythm. So it's just doing a really big job in the break. I just process it, like distorting it a bit, overdriving it, OTT a little bit, just bringing it on the mix, some of the high end on the tom. I don't want these toms being very boomy, and like overpowering the bass too much, so I cut that. Just doing another low cut here, changing the boominess a little bit, and just adding some mono compatibility. That's literally all I'm doing there. And then up here, yeah, I gotta kind of skip over some sounds because we're gonna go way too long. But just like more impacts, basically, more effects, building up stuff, a lot of orchestral stuff, accentuating some hits. I'm actually pitching these a little bit. Just really building up, and then just adding a lot of accentuating like rhythms here with like hats and like little glitches, and just really building it up to be this big moment. So all I'm doing there is just filtering the clap just to kind of build it into the break. Then we just got like a company drone layer. Oh, yes, I did mute myself that time. Okay, yeah, I can't really show how this one was made because it's from a resampled session, but I'm gonna guess it's like with, sounds like a band pass, or some like notch filtering, with some high resonance peaks. It sounds like a band pass for the most part, though. And then, yeah, we just got like a big rising Reese, nothing crazy. I'm just really trying to get into this project because there's going to be so much I have to still go through. But just like a normal Reese, everything like I said before, taking out the fundamental, winding it up, and then we're just pitching it up. I think the pitch is on 12. Nope, I put it to 17 actually because I didn't want to end it on a full octave actually. This is something I've seen some dubstep people do. where they don't pitch it up a full octave. They actually go up or a little less, actually, sometimes. It just creates like a dissonant in a way. I don't know how to explain it. Like, it's just like, it's a nice, it's a different way. It keeps you kind of suspensed in a way sometimes. Sometimes you don't want to do, sometimes you do. It depends on the song. It's really all this is. I just really want to accentuate that bass in this region, just so like you can feel it pumping. And didn't want it to be too sub heavy, so that's why I removed it on the mids, on the mono, and just doing some side cutting so it's not super wide. Bring out that bass frequency more. That's really what I'm doing here, just bringing out that bass frequency. I really wanted to feel this thing come through a little bit more and hear it. And just doing some filtering up as it's going up. I'm filtering it up in the filter, just to like have contrast. And then I'm just having it pump to the kick a little bit. That's really it for this section. Yeah, there's just so much. Just lots of effects. I'm not really going to go into these, but just like a lot of glitches. A lot more than what I usually do. I'm scared I muted myself again. Yeah, okay, we're good. Basically, yeah, this guy's just like an 85 bass. And just like a lot of white noise and like... just like a lot of stuff. Then you got some like ear candy. I just kind of have to browse over these. But like a lot of little stuff like that. Think here. Just like some bass stuff filtering in with like some reverb and heavy compression from a resample. That's all that is. And just some effects. Then we got the build drums. Build drums is just like a bunch of like kicks and snares. Very just aggressive snares and kicks. Some hats. Some claps. Faster rhythm in the background, just creating like more contrast, more movement. I got some reverse stuff here. This I actually end up adding here for some like metallic hits, and it's panning. And then you have the fill here, just creating like that, which I think these guys are just turned down, or they're different. Yeah, they might be different actually. Just stuff like that, really. Then we got that stuff that's off. Just like a bunch of basses filtering in right here. Filtering in the main. And I do this differently for the end too, like because of the different rhythms. And then I'm bringing in hold up. Sorry, I have to answer this. But no, we have some risers here. Just building up the song again. Some vocal effects here. Just really building up everything. That's really all that's happening here. But we'll go into the vocal thing quick here. Really quick. So this is my vocal right here. I break your realm. Which is just being pretty heavily processed from before. I actually had a resurrection vocal here. I don't know if I actually have it here, do I? I think I recorded the vocal in a different project. But basically what I did is I had two versions of my voice saying this line. And I went into, I think it was Complex or Complex Pro. Yeah, Complex Pro. And I detuned, or I did a pitch. I did a pitch up, I think. I pitched it around. And then on one layer, I would detune it a little lower. And I break your web. I break. On one layer I would do a little a little lower, and one layer I would do a little higher, and I had this big rack on there too that like creates that big like washy delays and stuff. So that's pretty much how you get the big detune effect. And I made sure I had this all in like tuning by putting an auto tune on there too. So that's kind of how I went around with it. Just so it has like identity and like it fills out that pre-drop section. And then you got the just like some cleaning up on the vocal, bring some presence here, and just cleaning up some of that not harshness, but like felt like this area maybe need just a little bit of compression and control. And then just just a little bit of taming that fundamental a little bit on the vocal around there. But it's pretty much how you get the whole build. So let's get into the drop. So kick and snare bus has a drum full parallel. This is just a squash them together for a bro step rhythm kind of feel. All I did was have a kick right here. I felt like the kick just needs some more umph to it, some more lows, and like I wanted to feel that thing come through. So that's why I gave that. I just gave it some presence in the highs. And I think I expanded the transient a bit because this is also the transient for my snare. So I wanted it to really just hit you. Then we just got a nice snare here. Just adding some compression and through some of these sends here. This one's using the rectified stem. So it's just really just distorting it and cleaning it up and adding some expansion. That's all we're doing here, like adding some more sides and taking out some mids. And then it's adding, it's adding just a little bit more of distortion and some delay to it, just to like add some like Haas effect a little bit. That's all this one is doing. And I'm also shaving off, as you can tell, I'm shaving off the body, or not the body, the transient of the snare. So this kind of comes. And then we also have another one that I'm doing the same thing, just some reverb, some saturation, just really smacking through. And I used one more, just for like more of a body tone. That's literally all it's doing, is just for more heaviness. I do add a metallic snare halfway through each part of each drop. An AU5 just metallic thing. You can find a preset like this online somewhere. And it adds a just like tonal variety to the snare. And it's just something nice I layered on top, just bring it out with like OTT and saturation. Transient shapers, taking off some of the transient so it doesn't hit as hard like the other ones. Like, so then it's like not overlapping that kick transient here. And I'm just bringing up the volume and adding a little bit of the compression send there. Can't tell if I muted myself again. Did I mute? Okay, we're good. Okay, we're cool. So that's how you get these kick and snares. Is by doing that. Then we get into the cymbals. That whole bus, by the way, the kick and snare is like 0.5 dB down. Just because I wanted it down a little bit. I just felt like it was a little too much. Sometimes 0.5 doesn't do too much, but it does sometimes. So take that as you will. Then I just got some cymbals. I'm pausing it on some of the moments. I'm pausing it for contrast. so they're not riding the whole time, like on like the main downbeats and stuff. Got big crash. Got a big crash. Got some light hats. And we got just some offbeat hats. That's why I'm taming some of the sustain on this, because I didn't want it to be very held out. Like, I didn't want it to be this white noise buildup, like, because I wanted things still to be quite tight, but still have, like, a wall of sound a bit in this. And then just, like, reverse crash. And then on some hits, on every 4 bars, really, until it comes around on the melodic parts, I have an extra crash come in, just for, like, accentuation. And then another reverse crash that's a little higher pitch. And by doing this and just having moments of contrast, where some of the fills, it pauses, like on these little fills, some of these cymbals stop playing or all together. And you just create contrast in the song in your drums. Because I feel like your drums shouldn't just always be playing all the time. Like, you gotta, and also you don't want them to be following everything at the same time. You want everything to kind of be like a drummer in a way. Like, a drummer's not going to follow completely, and neither is it going to just be riding on top. So you kind of, it's kind of like how I was thinking a little bit. But overall with the kick and snare, you guys get. So that's kind of like how I went about that, is doing that, and thinking like that. Now we get into the fun bits, which I'm going to try and scroll over. So this is my bass bus for the main basses. We got just a low mid EQ here, just taming 200 hertz, so it's not boxy or too bassy. And it's like a little cleaner. I put one sidechain on here. I think I ended up using this mainly for the main basses, because I felt like I didn't want it to be huge sidechain for some reason. I like I said, I did this across multiple projects, and this just sounded the best. I have an EQ. These are all effects that we can get into, but basically like low cutting and high cutting by the looks of it here. This guy is just taming some high end, like on just like controlling it, just so then like cymbals and stuff can come through. This is just a creative effect for like the transition, I'm pretty sure, like right over here, I believe. Yeah, this is just like over here in this section, for the transition. Cabinet is for the fake out over here, so it like goes to mono and everything. I'm pretty sure, like, right, is it right here? Yes, no, over here. So it goes all mono, same with the EQ. It's just like all these little effects, as you can see, like adding movement and little things to the song. And that's a transition rack that I made, just for like the transition of the song. So let's head into the fun stuff. Yeah, let me know how you guys are feeling so far, and if you guys have any questions, yeah, just let me know. But we'll start. So far, there's quite a few. Main bass. I'm just gonna double check. Did I mute myself again? Okay, we're cool. So we got this bass right here. So we're just doing some corpus on here just to bring out some resonant tones. Just kind of gives like a natural ringtail to it. Bring up some of the mids. Starter rack, fattening it up a little bit. Just a lot of EQs, cleaning up the sound. Designing the sound, shaping the sound. And going into, yeah, a lot just shaping this sound, because without it, yeah, it's kind of boring. So that's pretty much how I got that. Got that one. We'll dive into the layering of that too. There is on another group here, like a reverse kind of like little reverse stuff like that going in the back. I got this extra, just like some weird resampled stuff I did from another session. And then I actually add the grain delay here on a octave higher or a pitch higher. And it just creates like more intense. So all I'm really doing there, I don't think this actually, yeah, no, that wasn't there. That was for older project stuff, yeah. But basically just taming, cleaning up the sound once again with some EQs. It's really all I'm doing for that sound. And I think, yeah, there's this little accentuator. Yeah, just really cleaning it up, doing the same grain delay thing, I think, somewhere else over here. Maybe. Oh, wait. Maybe not. Maybe I don't have it on in the end. Oh, wait, I did it nowhere, maybe. I didn't do it anywhere. I guess maybe I just turned it off. Trial and error. Comb streamer. Comb streamer. Just creating like a metallic feeling. That's really what I'm doing here. And this is just layered up on some of the hits, cleaning up the sound. That's really it. Just, yeah, so much bass stuff. Did I mute? I think we're okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, getting into bass design now. So we have the main lead, which comes from a resampled thing. Yeah, it comes from this weird patch that I manipulated a bunch. Can't really explain it, to be honest. It's a lot of comb. I use a lot of Vital for more like experimental bass kind of stuff. Distortion, filtering, sub. Yeah, just a lot of weird stuff. My own fat rack on fat. This is just like amplifier, you know, stuff like that that I can automate. Saturator, OTTs. Just a whole, just a fat rack. Like, you get a huge thing. Multi-band dynamics, EQ if I want to turn off the sub. Yeah, it's pretty big rack. So that's what this is. But actually processing the sound is I turned down the widths of the sound just to make it more mono. This is actually just expanding to make the sound more present. And actually creating some width and just some distortion a little bit more. Just bring presence to the sound. That's all this is, and that's why it's turned down a little bit. And that these are separated, so it's kind of like a little mix signal, and like adding another layer of tone. And then just some starter rack to fatten it up. Cleaning up some of the low mids and sub. Doing that again and bringing up this 800 tone area, so it's a little bit more audible and like more in your face. That's what I'm also doing here at like 1.4 almost, 1.3. Taming some of the highs right here, just so it's not like super screechy and scratchy. Taming some of this on the sides, this region on the sides, because on this EQ, because of the we want this to be really centered in mono. Like, that's why I'm doing the utility at the beginning here, is to make this really in your face. And it's also for contrasting too to the bass before, because it's quite wide, and that corpus is also adding the width as prior. And then just adding some more tone and body. Like, I felt like it just needed that. Adding 1.5 for presence, taming some harshness around 6K, giving some air around 16K. And then taming some sides off on the sound, and then giving some more mono presence by giving like a dB on the mids. taming some more scratchiness frequency. This is what I was talking about, the scratchiness. I'm compressing this a little bit on the dynamic EQ, just to tame that scratchiness of the sound. Just so it's like a little bit more present, because that cleaning up that area will definitely open up the sound a lot more. But once again, you don't want to take away too much. I felt like there was some harshness up here, so I just tamed some of there. Just some ringing points are pretty nasty, I felt. Yeah. And then just some saturation, just to have there as a soft clip. Just adding some high end, and this is being routed from here. This is to control the high mids, actually. This is to control the high mids of the sound. So it has its dynamics still, because without it, the tail kind of bleeds in quite a bit. Very subtle, but it's giving this really good dynamic punch to the sound, and it's just creating like a clarity in punch and aggressiveness to the sound. And that's what I'm doing there. Then this EQ, for some reason, oh, this is for the machine gun basses, I believe. Yeah, okay, I see how I did this project again. Oh yeah, how did I go about this project? Oh yeah, because this is on the bill. Oh man, this project has me lost sometimes. Yeah, so I have this EQ on the machine guns over here, just to like tame some presence and harshness on this machine gun bass that I have. That's really what that is. But we'll keep on the layering over here. We got the other basses here. Just creating some nice low warmth. And just creating some on the sides, just cleaning up the sides a bit. And then cleaning up the sound just overall a little bit more. And then we got the this other like transient sound. This is only just taking out some of the low mids, cleaning up some of the highs. That's really all this is doing. Just cleaning up the sound, creating space, but we still kind of want to create texture down below there. Then I have this like really wide one, taking off some of the highs, taking off those low mids, taking off some sides, but I'm actually using this for width. Just so like it surrounds the sound a little bit more. Oh wait, we're in the filtered section. Oops. Like you can hear the sides and that high end kind of like surround. And it's creating that width around the sound, which is just very nice. And there's that. And then we also have this other sound right here, which is the, it's like this weird like texture, like white noise sound, if I remember. It's kind of creating like a knock to the bass a little bit more. Just really taming off some mids actually on this one, more for width in the top. And just taming this 1K for the main bass to kind of come through in the mono a little bit more. Taming the highs and the lows. And really when you put it all together, for this main lead, compared to just this, but then I layer up this glitch. Which this guy, all he's doing is just creating texture in the top end. Because without, or like with and without right here. It's just creating like this nice texture in the back that just like, it's just creating movement. And so that's really how the main lead is done of this song, and like the little texture on top. Then we just got to step into some of the fills here. I'm just going to play a couple of them. It's just like a bunch of samples, resampled stuff, and I'll go over like bits of contrast and stuff. Actually, this is actually a really important sound. So this is a fill, but not a fill. And I guess now we're stepping into the rhythm. So the rhythm is this ba, bum, 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 bum. But the sounds don't exactly do that, which is really important because we're in syncopation, which the second part of the drop goes into triplets, and the last drop does half triplets. Syncopation is very close to triplets. I don't know how to explain. Like they're very, very close in notes, but I need to keep that syncopation rhythm, but I didn't want it to be the same bass, because if you have it be the same bass, it's gonna sound like a bum, 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 bum. Like it's gonna sound like that, rather than what I'm trying to get, which was the bum, 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 bum. Like I kind of want it to be that, and automatically, but I need that syncopation, because syncopation has to usually have that consistent bum, 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 like this rhythm to it, and it needed something there. So what I did is, right as soon as where the next syncopation is about to hit, I added another sound for contrast. Because without the sound in the rhythm, it loses the rhythm a little bit. It loses the memorability a little bit. And if I bring it back, then you'll hear what I'm saying. It creates this momentum to the song too. Like you're still like, you're getting into the groove of it, of the rhythm, and this is danceable. And then, if you're gonna do a pause like that, make it contrasting too. That's why I shaved off, I believe, some high end on this sound actually. Yeah, right there, shaved off, took off some of the highs, so it's not full white noise. Yeah, I did a lot just to make it like not pop through. And this is just like an AU5 like pulsar bass with some corpus on it. And yeah, it's just like a really cool contrasting sound, but it makes sense with the rhythm. But I'm not doing this directly on the beat because we're in syncopation, and the rhythm is all starting like right here, ba 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 ba, and it just makes sense for the rhythm. So that's why it's done like that. So this is a really, really important sound when driving the song forward. Let me just make sure I'm going through all this. Yep. Now we get into the fills. I think they're in here. We got this guy in here. This cool little. Now this guy is just like a resampled kind of thing of mine that I have. Just bring up the presence a bit, taming the highs, like trying to add contrast to the other sounds is what I was kind of doing here. Making it wider in some parts so it kind of like the stereo pops out for a second. Just contrasting. Filtering out the high end a lot. That's all I'm doing for that sound. Then we have another growl that comes in. And this changes actually on the same rack. Now all I'm doing on this is just like a sample. It's a sample. I don't think I'm doing any automation really, like not automation like in the clip. I have an auto filter though, kind of creating this vowel tone with it. Kind of just creating like vowel movements, taming a little bit of that low mids a little bit. And we have the starter rack here. Bring it up again, taming some highs, taming the low mids on the sides and on the mids. And then we're taming, once again, some very scratchy frequencies and like harsh frequencies up here. And that, I think it's around like 6K, yeah. And then, yeah, it's just like a lot of cleaning up. It's a very similar process where I just keep adding and adding and adding. Yeah, that's what it is. And I'm pretty sure this bass might have came from like a loop or something. Yeah, something. Yeah, so that's kind of like how I got the cycle of the other one over here that I was saying about. But that's how this one is. There is some other textures underneath though. This guy's playing like a growl kind of thing underneath, so I'm just compressing it to make it more present. Bring this frequency up so it has like that like vowel tone come out a little bit, like low mid kind of like aggression that pops through the mix. And then I got just a little bit more body. I added some width, I believe. Yep, I am adding some width right here to the sound, just to really widen the growl and the low mids on there. So it's just like you're going from wide, a little bit more mono, pretty mono, but possibly stereo, and then you get really wide again. And it's just creating this like contrast of like push and pull in the stereo field, which helps accentuate the rhythms in a cooler way too. And I'm just taking off some widths in the highs, because I really want it primarily for the low, and then just doing a little automation on the growl. And if you're looking at the sound and span, look at how it's growling. It's creating that vowel movement as I was talking about before, that human nature. There's also another one in here. Yeah, this project just loaded. This one just has like a vowel peak to it. I don't think I do anything too crazy. Oh wait, I do some stuff. Yeah, nothing crazy. It's just like a resampled instrument of mine. A little bit of corpus, compression, some peak resonance on specific frequencies, I believe I did on here. Yeah, some harmonics. Just like really bring it out. I think I'm doing a wider on here. Yep, widening it up again, create more low widths and the low mids. And just saturating it up a bit and adding some more mono to it, taking out some stereo. That's really it. Yeah, this region really creates that vowel tone in the growl, so it just really cuts through. So that's really it for this, for those growls. This is pretty much the growls. Like, I'm just trying to really make sure we're good on time. This is gonna be such a long stream. And yeah, then this guy just comes in on the hat. Just kind of creates like a ripping and tearing kind of sound to it. Just like a glitch underneath. Just like a lot of like glitches and stuff. Little too much maybe, but this project is huge. Yeah, and then basically we got this bass. that came from. What? I was on mute there, but that's what I mean. I need to double check. But basically, I was saying these lasers are frequency shifted. I see Virtual Riot doing this a lot, where like some rhythms that he really wants to accentuate, he'll put like a laser over it to really accentuate the rhythms on there, and that's kind of what I'm doing here. And then I also have a sonar sound running throughout the drop pretty much the entire time on the first half, just kind of creating some atmosphere bed to it. And that's really what's happening here. So let me go and play this part now with those lasers. It just kind of creates a push and pull dynamic. Just double check. Okay, yeah, I am on mute. Cool. Yeah, and just stepping back into the fills for a sec. I think, yeah, there's a couple fills in here. So this guy is a part of that first fill again. And all I'm doing here is just mid-side OTT gluing them together. some glue compression, putting some lows, so that I'm trying to get some natural lows here. My sub is not playing. And then I'm just taming some of here, like this boxiness region a little bit, and some high end. I'm trying to create and shape the sound to have contrast to each other. So I'm just putting some more mono, like stuff like this, kind of skimming over a little bit. But really just trying to add contrast to this fill, and I just basically, literally, I can't explain it that well, but it's just like, I've just thrown a bunch of sounds together to create this, like, in this case, it's a lot of company for this one, with one I made above that we went over. That's really how that is with that fill. It's pretty much there. And then just stepping in the basses. There's a bass that runs through this whole drop, pretty much melodic and not, and it creates the weight of the song. And it's a low mid growly bass I made right here. Okay, I'm not muted. Okay, now I'm a little worried I was muted. But if I play this bass, basically this bass is just like carrying the weight of the song, and I'll play it in context and you'll be able to hear this. It's basically just like a really thick sounding, like almost square sawish bass, just like really have some attack to it, like on a pitch envelope right there, very small amount. It has pitch bend in one of the sections, and it's just really helping drive the song. Like I'm putting a lot of overdrive, saturation, some amp on mono. This is a mono layer, by the way, very just straight mono, a little bit of width, but it's for the most part just mono. And I really just want it to cover the low mid region, but I'm taming it and pulling it back a little bit. This is for Haas effect because I felt like it needed some width actually at the end, just to create some low mids, but I wanted it controlled, and that's why you see me pushing it in here, because I felt like it just needed more width. But just taming some cue points here, bring up some of the main hertz of the frequency of the bass, like the fifth, the tonic, the fourth degree, and the fifth again. That's what I'm doing here. And when I play this with the context of the whole song, so when it, like, if I turn it off again, it loses all the weight of the song. So if I put it back on, so it just adds like this huge tone. That bass is just riding throughout the drop, pretty much. But now we get into the, I think there's a fill here that repeats. So we have this fill right here, which might be the only one. It's just like a sound I made, adding some like some distortion, OTT, shaping the sound a bit. But differently enough, I wanted to shape the sound to be wider on here, for some frequency. And you'll see it kind of peeking out right there, like one of them's right there, because it's creating. Did I mute myself again? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just creating this like tonal. It's just kind of creating contrast with that peaks in there. But I also still want it to be mono, but I'm just trying to shape the sound a little bit differently, as to before, and I'm pretty sure that's all that is. Oh wait, there's more. And yeah, just basically as before, more fill stuff. Same, it's like the same rack. Yeah, it's the same rack, just a few different sounds. Actually, it might be the same. Yeah, it's the same actually. That's all I'm doing there. Nothing crazy, just more contrast, you know, adding a fill, letting natural sub. And then we get into the turnaround section. Right over here. Let's go through this. First things first, we got crazy bass. This guy is just like a serum patch that's like probably like LFOing some movements in here. Yeah, just like yeah, it's just literally yeah, it's just adding some unison. We're controlling the position of this wavetable, some mirror, and we're also doing some notch filtering just to create like this growly, like melodic feel to it. And then all I'm using is just a basic saw, just to retain mono underneath the characteristic layer, because you want a characteristic layer and you don't want characteristic layers, because the characteristic layers might move around a lot. There might be a lot of like potential like unison or lots of like phasing going on, and you still need a mono layer, like a nice simple layer behind it or in front at the same time, because it will create a foundation for this weirder or more wackier sound. So that's what I'm doing here, is just like a basic saw, literally not even unison. That's really all I'm doing, is amplifying this other mid bass and then adding some distortion, cleaning it up on the sides, some mono. And then this guy just pretty much just driving in the middle, and you get this huge bass when you put them together. Then I'm just adding some atmosphere. Just like that's what I mean. I'm muted again. Okay, let's see. Let's go over this. Basically, big pad here, chord pad, and just have some cool leads on top. The erosion just giving that cool effect. That's really what I was saying there. I'm just choosing some cool leads, bringing back the chords for a trance feel. Yeah, that's really all I'm doing here. Yeah, any questions so far? Nope. Oh, good. And then we got the Omnisphere patch here, which is creating a just like same melody like earlier. I already opened it up, but basically just really going through that and like taming some harshness, resonant peaks, and cleaning it up. And that's pretty much how you get the turnaround here. Other than that, I'll keep moving forward on this. And like I said before, the choir and all the other previous leads kind of come through a little bit. And that's kind of like how they go. Now, just quickly going over some variation and stuff, because I am trying to be a little careful with time here. But we got like risers, like a bunch of background effects, a bunch of little cool fills that I kind of put together. Just kind of creating a bunch of stuff. I'll go over my sub quick. The sub literally is just a dedicated sub by Virtual Riot, choosing the harmonics. I don't usually ever put a Q on my sub ever. Like, you'll never see me doing EQ like that. And then I just rendered out the sub line on some static notes probably or something. And I did some pitch envelope for some of these guys. Like, some are not pitching and some are. Like, this one on the main bass gun kind of stuff is going pitching. And I think some of these are doing a way lighter amount. So it's just always moving. The sub's kind of moving with it. Yeah, that's pretty much how those guys go. And then for contrast between the first A section to the second A section, I ended up doing a new kind of like resampled bass a little bit here. Yeah, I think it's right in the serum effects, yeah. And I'm automating the serum effects over time to yeah, with the comb filter here, which is creating like this cool like a little bit more of a washier sound. Like, it's just creating evolutions throughout the bass. Yeah, and it's just creating like this cool thing. That's pretty much all that's happening here. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's happening here. Creating a variation with this bass. That's kind of just how it's going with that. And then yeah, pretty much this is how the drop goes for this part until I bring in a drum fill over here. Just like a quick little drum fill right here. want to make sure I'm not muted. Yeah, okay, I am not. Oh man, I'm just so anxious about like I'm muting myself on and off. I'm like, am I muted? But basically it's just like creating like all these like little sounds in and out coming in, and then we got the big sustain. It's a sustain I made. Quickly going into this guy, we got the serum patch, and yeah, it's just like a serum with like a lot of like high pass and like moving the filter, some mirror, like, and I also added some macros that I like kind of change over time. But yeah, that's kind of how it goes. There's also an auto pan on the whole group that's kind of like filtering up sometimes. That's pretty much how that goes with that bass, and I just like have a higher one up here, I think. And just kind of creating some stuff. I also have this other weirder one. And you kind of just get this huge sustain sound. Then oh yeah, this thing, I won't even open this, but basically I made this cool rhythm in triplets, and I did a bunch of like automation on this hyper reshifter thing from AU5, and a lot of EQing and like lots of just weird experimental kind of stuff that's just like stuff I would just say go mess with a bunch of racks that you just don't even know everything going on, and just automate stuff to get random weird stuff. And I had to go ahead for dynamics again to control the song, manually cut these each time because they did the same thing like the sustain where I'm like like evolving them, so each phrase is like a little different. So if I go into this one, yo, glad to have you here, man. I'm so glad. We're going into like the bass design and stuff. There's like it's a stacked project, but I'm almost finishing up here because it's been such a long time. It's such a big project than I remember. But I hope everybody's getting value from it though. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy about it. But yeah, basically it's just creating like this experimental rhythm on top of the sustain, and then to kind of maintain the groove anchor, like this like headbang kind of thing. I brought in these like extra like chant kind of knocks to the sounds, kind of getting like this boom bang boom bang boom bang, so it's still like retaining the main groove, like it's anchored. Like if you want to be a little weird and like swing things, these might actually be swung if I remember. Let me see if I can see. No, these are not swung here. Yeah, no, these are not swung. But you know, for doing a bass like this where you're kind of like with the rhythm kind of goes a little all over the place, a little bit more, you kind of want an anchor to keep the groove, like the headbang motion of it, or like the groove and the anchor of the song. And that's kind of like what these are helping do here. And so now with everything, you kind of get this more creative sounding sound to the song, and you're also getting like a lot of drive because it's not just a sustain, neither is it just bass notes, and you're also getting like a really cool morphing sound design to it. And that's kind of just how like those are together, and just how I mixed those like really fast kind of lasery guns is just taking out some harshness that was building up because it was taking off clarity, gave it some more clarity, giving it some highs, and actually it brought back some, actually maybe. That's maybe just how I work. Like I just like working with multiple EQs at the end of each chain because like I just work like that. I don't know. So I do things at the beginning, and then sometimes I rechange it at the end, and it makes my other thing not look sense, but it does. But I'm just giving some body tone here because I felt like it was just way too high of a sound, so it just needed some like nice knock to the sound, like right in here. Still muted, but basically that's kind of how I go, and then a call and response now goes into this other basses and stuff. Just like some like a lot of just weird sounds, really just being meshed together. Like we have this other downbeat stuff here. Just stuff like this is like a sound I made like a while ago, like same rack as before, Corpus kind of stuff. It's taking. Yeah, this is just chaotic of a project. There's so much like happening. Just making sure. There's a lot in this project. So we got this laser here. This guy is just driving momentum behind the machine guns, like as a counter rhythm, really. That's really all this guy's doing. You got like another kind of weird bass sounds going on. Same sound as before, and then I bring in like this kind of knock laser bass. So you kind of like it's boom, ba ba ba. This kind of like weird. If I do all these together. And this guy gets like this crazy thing, and then I just didn't want my machine guns to be like heavy, so I did like a lot of like it's like a very big frequency shift, kind of mid-side saturation kind of stuff to beefing it up. Lots of dispersers to create that like laser sound, like right in here. And then I'm just bringing up the transient a little bit on them so they're knocking, and just taming some, cleaning up the sound a little bit more. That's really, and I brought the sustain so then they're kind of like more there, and then just like a fill. That's for the main part of the machine gun. But yeah, that's really how that goes. Let's see. What else we got? Okay, I'm not muted. Cool. What's it called? Just more machine guns from before on the same rack. That's on the same rack as before, as the main one. I have this other one on the same rack too. Same thing from before, just new rhythm. Same thing, and then we bring in another huge machine gun boy thing. Yeah, this guy's doing the weird gurgly kind of weird stuff over time, so they change. And really all this is doing is just like automating some cool effects that I kind of like shift and depth in the macro of this comb screamer that we went over before, and the ultra hyper reshifter. It's just kind of creating this like hypery effect, and just really experimental bass. It's just about like experimenting, and that's kind of like what I'm combining here. And so really there's no golden anything. It's just find what's cool and just really experiment with it, and really just get a feel for it of what you like, and how you just get a cool result. That's how I go about it. Because like this is like going really experimental now. Because like my sound design with Nine Worlds, I like to have an experimental sound to it with my dubstep. So and that's really what I'm trying to showcase in this song. Like really show what my sound design is, like, as Nine Worlds now, and like theme writing and stuff. So that's kind of why it has this experimental sound to it. And this is how I did it, basically. It's just like a lot of just weird stuff over time. Basically, all we're doing is just cleaning up the sound once again, mid-side EQ. Probably went over it so many times now, but basically just cleaning up the sound, making it more mono compatible, and yeah, giving it more machine gun presence and knock in this area, like more presence in the vocal tone area, and yeah, just bring back some of the other sounds so it continues the sounds from before, but in a new way. And then we have some cool fills in here. Like there's a part right here on the machine gun that you go like a boo up, kind of like part right. Which this part is just some EQing, some blasting out of the bass here. Then I'm cutting it because I'm feeding it into the distortion, because the louder the waveform, being like a sub, the more you feed it into a distortion, the more distorted it's going to get, just because it is the loudest waveform if you're using just like a sub or a sine. And I'm just crushing it. I wanted this vocal tone. Just like creates a cool effect. And then I'm just combining like a barely alive kind of stuff. And then just some like cool sound design stuff here for contrast, making the widths go down on this sound right here, so it's more like mono. Once again, playing with the stereo field, blasting the sound a bit, and yeah, it's pretty much how this song goes for the most part. I think there's another machine gun part. There's so many. Yeah, so then there's just this other sound here. That I'm just doing another starter rack and then fattening it up, taking out some of the high screechiness so it doesn't like get very chalk sounding or like scrapey and harsh. And just giving kind of a neuro feel too with that other one. And it just sickens up the sound. Yeah, this is pretty much how you make Realm Breaker, to be honest. I don't know if there's any questions about anything in specific. I won't really touch more because I've already been through quite a bit of the song, but this is pretty much how you get Realm Breaker. There is actually one thing I did skip over that's quite actually important that I just thought of. In the second drop, or the first part of the first drop here, I bring in this high laser sound. Where is it? I'm gonna find it. I have it. Yeah, it should be here. I think it's in the. I'm gonna find it quick. Oh yeah, there's these sustains riding in the back, but there's another sound. I don't know where it is, to be honest. Maybe I took it out? No, it's here. It's here. Oh wait, it's in a separate bass group. Yes, right here. So there's this riding bass in the back, kind of just creating this like more like epicness. I'm automating some crystallizer on here. Really just, that's also on the sustain before, but I take off the reverb and stuff. Just an F-in bass. That's all it is. It's just like an F-in bass. I'm just giving some reverb automation and like just really kind of controlling everything and like building this like atmosphere around the song. That's really all I'm doing, and I'm turning off the reverb and stuff on the fill moments, like on some important fill moments, so it has more punctionality, it doesn't fade in. That's really what that does. It just creates this driving rhythm to the song in the back here. And that's kind of like what's happening there, but like other than that, that's pretty much how you get Realm Breaker's first two drops basically of the song. Yeah, and then there's just like a little transition effect here, like there's in here too, like there's like a sub drop. And that's just like a bunch of weird effects I grab with a sub drop, and then having some risers, and then I'm just doing some transition automations like with reverbs and fading out, just so then it transitions back into the break. That's pretty much how you get that, and then I just add some minor variation with adding some extra leads and stuff. But that's pretty much what's happening right on there. It's like that's just like a counter lead. So that's pretty much all that's happening. It's just like a normal like lead I made in Serum. And yeah, honestly, yeah, it's just like some detuning, some effects, and yeah, it's basic Serum, fattening it up, some reverb. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Going into it, and then just kind of very, very similar to the other break, bring in like an extra fill and all that good stuff. That's pretty much. And then last drop really just happens to have like a little bit of a new rhythm, not so syncopated anymore. Not so syncopated, so it should be yeah, it's just really going between, like, it's basically taking a little bit of this section right here. It's like combining what we're doing here and what's combining what we're doing over here in the one drop. So the third drop kind of combines both of those two drops technically into one. So you get like this cool like rhythm like. So that's kind of like how I'm going about it, because it just creates like, so you get both drops again, but in a new way. Like you get a new rhythm a little bit on here, and then you get the sustain with that triplet rhythm again, because we swapped the triplets right here. So this is our triplet call. So then when we actually go right back into triplets again, so there's a triplet drum fill, everything's kind of going back into triplets, right? Like a boom, 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 like right going right into triplets. Don't mind me awfully trying to sound it out, but we're going back to triplets into there from syncopation in a way, or 4/4 timing. So that's kind of just how we're going about there. To be honest, yeah, just really bringing it home. We do a little quick fake out here with some effects and stuff. And then the outro is literally just some effects from the intro, basically, a little bit different. And last thing to go over as I'm thinking of it, there is a little fake out here in the first drop. All I'm doing is like a cabinet filter that turns on. It goes to mono. I do some filtering down here and add some effects. So that's all that's happening there, and I'm just adding like all these cool like effects and like bass sounds. Like I'm giving like a riser. There's like a glass impact here. Just some like cool basses all thrown together. Like it's literally just throwing things together. and getting like cool sounds, like just really experimenting, like taking Reese's, glitches, like neuro, just really bring out your bass design here, and that's kind of what I'm doing in conjunction with the other basses. I also added a snare kind of snare here thing, I think. Yeah, that's how you get Realm Breaker though, like with this fake out right here. Okay, cool. But yeah, this is basically how you get Realm Breaker. Like this is how it's all done. um, but yeah, like any last questions, I will answer them. But pretty much, yeah, this is how Realm Breaker was done. It's went quite longer for a stream, but I hope I gave a lot of value to you guys watching this, or who will be watching this if it is archived. And yeah, I just wanted to do something different with my sound as Nine Worlds and create something a little bit heavier and darker, and also tie the Norse theme a little bit, and yeah, really just experiment with my sound in a heavier kind of style. And I think I really got something I was really happy with, like I'm really happy with. And yeah, I hope you guys got a lot of insight on like how I went about creating rhythms and like tying rhythms together to make them more memorable, and also switching into stuff like triplets, like triplet calling and like contrast, and also theme writing, and also going quite a bit into sound design and layering, and layering with purpose. There was quite a lot in here, and yeah, honestly, the last thing quickly, I guess, just the show, just something on Span, is always look, what I was talking about before, quickly, is your vowels, and how your bass is. But the last thing, yeah, I want to point out quickly on is the vowel points here. I think I was muted. Is point out on the vowel tones quick. So on Span, if you look, like there's going to be moving quite a lot, like here, in its frequency, and it keeps it interesting even though it's on one note. So let me just quickly play that. And that's really like that's really how it goes. It's just creating a lot of vowel movements, because that's really important in dubstep. I went over this more earlier in the video for the stream, and yeah, this is how you get Realm Breaker, and creating like experimental sounding dubstep. So I hope you guys got a lot of value from this, and I'll answer any last questions if there's any questions. If not, if this is uploaded onto YouTube, I hope that you enjoy it and you got a lot of value from this. If it is on YouTube, also leave me a comment if you have any questions. You can also reach out to me via Instagram or Discord. You can find me in the Bass Rebels Discord as well. Join in there on their community. It is amazing. And yeah, I also do offer, if you are interested after this video, if you got a lot of value and insight, I do also offer one-on-one coaching lessons and sound banks on my website or via DM. So if that interests you, please reach out. We go through project walkthroughs just like this, or into your projects and work on them. So yeah, but other than that, thank you for Bass Rebels for having me on and doing this stream. And yeah, I hope you guys get a lot of value, and this is behind my creative process of making my song Realm Breaker in dubstep. So yeah, I'm gonna log off here, and I hope you guys enjoy the stream. And go stream Realm Breaker if you haven't checked it out. And yeah, I hope you guys having a fantastic weekend. And thanks again for Base Rebels for having me. And this has been a pleasure. So I will see you guys later. Bye bye.